The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Ambassador ZYX Thor of the Mentari Collective approached the human delegation. His crystalline appendages shimmered with barely contained excitement. For 3 centuries, the Mentari had served as the galaxy's most trusted diplomats, their telepathic abilities allowing them to resolve conflicts before they escalated into war. Finally, ZYX Thor's melodious voice echoed through the vast hall, "We shall understand the newest species to join our community." Captain James Mitchell of the United Earth Coalition stood at attention, his military posture perfect despite the marathon negotiation session. Beside him, Dr. Rebecca Martinez shifted nervously, her datapad forgotten in her hands. The rest of humanity watched through billions of screens across Earth and her colonies, holding their collective breath. Captain Mitchell, ZYX Thor continued, his 3 eyes gleaming with what passed for warmth among his kind, "With your permission, I would like to perform the ritual of understanding. A simple touch, and I will know your species' intentions, your hopes, your very essence. It is how we have welcomed every species to the Council for millennia." Mitchell glanced at Martinez, who nodded slightly. The psychological evaluations had prepared him for this. Standard procedure. Every species underwent it. "Permission granted, Ambassador," Mitchell said calmly. ZYX Thor's primary appendage extended, its surface rippling with bioluminescent patterns. The chamber's atmospheric processors hummed softly as the alien's limb made contact with Mitchell's bare forearm. Then ZYX Thor screamed. It wasn't a sound the translator could properly render. The Mentari's anguished wail bypassed the auditory system entirely, reverberating directly into the minds of every sapient being in the chamber. Council members clutched their heads, sensory organs, or neural clusters. ZYX Thor's crystalline body flashed through a strobing sequence of colors before he collapsed, his form going completely dark. Chaos erupted. Medical teams rushed forward. The Vraxian security chief bellowed orders. Mitchell stood frozen, his arms still extended, confused and horrified. "What did you do?" High Chancellor Vorn of the Vrax demanded, his 6 arms gesturing accusingly at the human delegation. "Nothing." Martinez shouted back, rushing to Mitchell's side. "He just touched him. That's all." 3 of the galaxy's best xenopsychologists worked on ZYX Thor for an hour before he regained consciousness. When he finally stirred, his colors were muted, his movements sluggish. Every eye in the chamber turned to him. "Explain," Chancellor Vorn commanded. "What happened?" ZYX Thor's voice was barely a whisper, trembling with what could only be described as existential horror. I touched the darkness." "Speak clearly, Mentari." "You don't understand," ZYX Thor's appendages trembled. "When I touch a mind, I see thoughts, memories, intentions. Clear streams of consciousness. But humans." He turned his central eye toward Mitchell, and something like fear flickered across his features. "Humans are different." Dr. Martinez stepped forward. "Different how?" "Your minds are chaos. Beautiful, terrible chaos." ZYX Thor struggled to find words in the common tongue. "In every species we've encountered, thoughts flow linearly. Past, present, future, organized, accessible. But humans? You exist in all tenses simultaneously. You remember yesterday while planning tomorrow while experiencing now, all at once, all the time." The chamber remained silent, hanging on every word. "And the voices," ZYX Thor continued, his colors shifting to deep purples and blacks. "So many voices. In every human mind I touched, even for that brief moment, there were dozens of streams of consciousness running parallel. You argue with yourselves. You narrate your own actions. You imagine conversations that never happened and never will. You create entire fictional scenarios and live through them emotionally as if they were real." Mitchell found his voice. "That's normal for us." "Normal?" ZYX Thor's laugh was bitter. "Captain, do you know what you were thinking when I touched your mind?" "I was standing still, waiting." "No. You were standing still, yes. But simultaneously, you were remembering a song from your childhood, worrying about whether you'd said the right thing to your daughter that morning, planning your response to 17 different potential scenarios of this meeting, wondering if your left boot was tied properly, composing a report in your head, feeling hungry, suppressing that hunger, thinking about an argument with your ex-wife from 7 years ago, and maintaining a surface-level awareness of this ceremony. All at once. All of it, constantly, a hurricane of thought and memory and imagination and sensation. The council members shifted uncomfortably. And that's not even the worst part, HFY continued. Humans, you live with something we eliminated from our species millions of years ago. Something most sapient races evolved past or genetically engineered away. What? Martinez asked. Anxiety. Existential dread. The constant, gnawing awareness of your own mortality. Every human carries it, every moment of every day. You know you will die. Not academically, you feel it, constantly. And yet you function. You laugh, you love, you build, you create, knowing that entropy claims everything. That darkness, that void, sits at the edge of every thought. And you've learned to live with it. More than that, you've learned to thrive despite it. Mitchell realized, perhaps for the first time, why Earth's philosophers and psychologists had seemed so confused by alien psychology. Why humans excelled at crisis management. Why they'd been so successful at adapting to scenarios that paralyzed other species. You asked what I saw when I touched a human mind, HFY said quietly. I saw infinity. I saw chaos. I saw a species that carries the weight of consciousness itself without flinching. Your minds aren't just active, they're war zones. And you live in that battlefield every second of your lives, somehow finding beauty and meaning in the noise. Chancellor Vorn leaned forward. And your recommendation, Mentari? HFY looked at Mitchell with something approaching awe. Never, under any circumstances, go to war with humanity. Any species that can survive their own minds can survive anything the universe throws at them. The council voted unanimously to fast-track humanity's full membership. As they left the chamber, Martinez nudged Mitchell. You know what's funny? What? Right now, you're probably thinking about 3 different things while wondering if you locked your quarters this morning. Mitchell smiled. She wasn't wrong.